So hi. Hi.
Good evening.
Again. So we've just done welcome to my garden. We've just done a warm up and some standing, but we're going to do some Tai Chi exercises now. Okay, so just for those who haven't done the exercises, we'll do a little bit of a warm up, shall we? So stand with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulders, apart, feet parallel to each other. I just want you to start to turn your waist. Turn your waist. Just loosen up. So we're going to be working a lot on this area here, the sacrum, the sacral joint, so the sacral part of the spine, where it joins onto the ilium to the pelvis. And what we call the Kua area, which are where the inguinal creases, the ball and socket, the abductors, the iliopsoas muscles, all the way up to the crest of the pelvis here. We're working on this area, and we're going to be working with the yin and yang. So this area we're going to keep yang, so substantial, and the hips, the Kua area, we're going to keep yin. Turning, loosening, floating through this area, steering the movement of that ball in the belly, connected, or that ball that's about 3 fingers below the belly button and in the centre body. Connected to the Weilu sacrum area, and the tailbone. Steering the movement. And the hips soft, engaged, all the hip area, the Kua area, but soft, yin, insubstantial, compared to the substantiality of the Weilu sacrum costic. Make sure you're not just tensing from the hip area. Something if I'm not careful, I will do. Okay, so we're going to start in quite a narrow stance. So I want you to take the heel of one of your feet and place it into the instep of the other foot. Touch the big toe of the foot that's at this angle pointing to the side down, and pivot out, and just slide it forward so the feet are parallel. Quite a narrow stance. Just your arms relaxed down by your side. Keep a small gap underneath each armpit. Just let the fingers touch onto the Shen Ji point on the thighs. Just hold that point. Okay. So, with your eyes, I want you to look into the distance. Look way, way, way into the distance. Way, way, way. As if you're watching those birds flying near distant clouds. And then bring your focus back, just in front of your eyes, and then close your eyes, focusing inwardly. And focus down into the body. I want you to, with your mind, in your mind's eye, from the navel, the belly button, I want you to draw a line through the body, straight through the body to the bottomest point in the small of the back, and that's the Hmong men, the gate of fate. A straight line from the belly button through the body, through the dantian, and connecting them to the small of the back. And the point right in the middle of the small of the back, the shallowest point. Then I want you to divide that line in half. So you have 2 lines. I want you to divide both of those lines in half again. So you have 5 points on this line. The point at the belly button, the Hmong men in the middle, and those 2 lines in half. So 5 points. With your mind's eye, I want you to move your intent from the belly button to the 2nd point, to the 3rd point, so in the middle, to the 4th point, and then to the 5th point in the back. Then move back to the 4th point, and then to the middle point. Then from there, I want you to go down each leg to the very middle of the feet. The Yongchen points in the very middle of the feet, just behind the balls of the feet. It's like the hollow in the bottom of the feet. It's not really a point, it's a hollow. So move down from that midpoint in the belly to those points in the center of the feet. So connecting your center with the ground, with the feet. Then from the feet, I want you to move up through the body to the very top of the head, to the apex of the head, the Bai-Huai point on the top of the head. It's not the flat of the head, it's the soft spot, the fontanel area on the top of the head. So this is raising the spirit of vitality. So we're connected to the earth, sent our roots into the earth, connected our center to the earth, connected that earth to the top of the head, the Bai-Huai, raising the spirit of vitality to the top of the head. So you get it like a stretchy feeling, down into the ground and up to the top of the head, with these connections. And open the eyes, or open your eyes. And I just want you to drop the weight of the body onto your left leg. And I want you to turn to your left. Turn to the left. Remember the hips or the Kua soft. The Weilu yang. Nice straight spine, then turn back to the center. And turning from your center onto the other leg. So folding in the Kua area. But not moving from here, these are soft. Okay, back to the center. And draw onto the other leg, turn. And this time, I want you to lift the toes of the unsupported foot up. We're not just tensing from the muscles down there. Drop down, turn back to the other side, and lift the toes up. Feel yourself pulling them up with your center. So they're not pulling them in, just pulling them up. Nice straight spine, nice and upright. Raising the spirit of vitality to the top of the head. Lifting the toes up. And back. Feel that connectedness, pulling the toes up. You want to fill the lower back, so sink the ribs to fill the lower back. And pulling up there. And you can use that slight pulling in of the abdominal muscles and your core to lift the toes up. Feel that connectivity. Pulling the toes up. Make sure the lower back isn't curving in, the ribs aren't flaring out, you're not sticking the chest out. Not pulling up with the shoulders. Keep your arms nice and relaxed. There's a tendency, I know I have a tendency to tense up the shoulders when I'm doing this, pulling up. Keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. The shoulders want to be soft as well. Relax. And I'll catch you. The connectivity. Lifting the toes up. The center. Again, drop the weight of the body onto your left leg. This time, turn to your right. Keep the knee in line with the toes, sitting down. You have that straight line down from the earlobe down through the center of the foot, and then turn back to the center. Drop the weight onto the other leg, turn, sinking down, straight line down from the earlobe down to the very center of the foot. And kind of feel, again, the Kua, yin. Turn back to the center, the Weilu, yang. And sink down. And this time I want you to lift the unsupported foot off the ground. But you're not just tensing from here to that, it's kind of Weilu, sacrum yang, hips yin. So again, not tensing all these muscles here. Sink into the other leg, turn. Lift the leg off the ground. So don't turn it out, just lift it up off the ground. Lift it up off the ground, about a centimetre or even just a millimetre off the ground, the whole foot, so it's empty. Have the feeling as if the leg just wants to pop out to the side, but you're not tensing all the muscles around here to do that. It's kind of the centre, your core, the ground, leaving it against the ground, and the Weilu, pushing the leg up, so soften the hips, the Kua. Still raising the spirit to the top of the head. Feel that, the Weilu, or the Dancian in the center, your center point there, connected to the Weilu, the sacrum, coccyx. Just lifting that leg up. Okay, go out to a little, oh, I've already gone out to a wider stance side, so about a shoulder width and a half, or a foot width and a half in between your feet. Okay, arms just strapped down by your side, and we'll put those together. So kind of a bear exercise, but in a narrow stance. So drop the weight onto your right leg, and turn to the right. And then again, kind of moving back to the other leg, and then turning to that side. So it's those two movements put together. And again, the Weilu, sacrum, coccyx, this area here, yang, the hips, or the Kua, yin. Make sure you're not just tensing from the hips to get through. Moving from your center, keeping nice and upright, keep the spine nice and upright. Relaxing the hips. We've worked on in the past the hips being like a bowl of water, full to the brim. You don't want to spill any of that water out of it. Worked on floating through this area. Floating through this area, and feel like the Weilu, the sacrum area. It's like the oar, the rudder, steering through this area as you float through it. You can put the breath into it if you're not already. Just breathing in, sit back, turning, sinking, breathing out. You're not locking the legs out, you're sinking down. As you sink down, the knee goes forwards, the hip goes backwards. Drop the weight down through the Yongchen points. Feel the feet spreading out. Breathing in. Nice and relaxed. Okay. Just turn to the side in this narrow stance. Just turn to the side. Turn to the side. And then sit down to your right foot and turn the left toes in. So the left toes point towards the right toes. Sit back, turn the right toes so they're pointing what was our forwards. It's forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Side again. But again, Hua, Yin, Weilu, Yang. Give the spine perfectly vertical. Make sure the lower back isn't curving in. Again, we're flattening the lower back, but make sure you're not holding rigid tension in the erector spinal muscles in the lower back to keep it flat. And kind of tilting the pelvic area forwards is more of an intent thing than a muscular thing. Thinking forwards. Tailbone of the Weilu Yang, the Kua Yin. Forwards, knee goes forwards in line with the toes, no further forward than the toes. Sacrum tucked under, tailbone points towards the floor, no further back than the centre of the calves. Floating through this area, steering the movement with the Weilu connected to your centre, the Dantian. Okay, turn to the other side. Sit down to your left leg, turn the right toes so the right toes pointed towards the left toes, sit back, turn the front toes out. So the heels are in line. Just going forwards and backwards. Again, the Weilu. Yang. Substantial. We know yin and yang. Yang is not hard, rigid tension. It's when you have the yin and yang symbol, the Tai Chi symbol, when yang is at its fullest, it still has that little bit of yin in it, that little bit of softness in it. And when yin is at its softest, it's still that little bit of yang in it. It's not that full 50-50 hard and soft divide. So make sure the Weilu is more substantial than the hips, the Kua. Make sure the lower back isn't just curving in and out as you're doing this movement. Keep it nice and relaxed. Sink the ribs to fill the Hmong men in the lower back. You can have that intent of, in between the legs you have the Hui Yin, in between the perineum, in between the genitals and the anus. You can have that intent of pulling that up. Again, just an intent thing, not a physical thing. Sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Head as if suspended from above, pelvic area like a bowl of water. Full to the brim, you don't want to spill any of that water. Floating through this whole area here, steering the movement with the tailbone connected to the dancer. So we can have a couple of people up here, 2 people on here, we'll have the rest down on the concrete bit. We're going to do some Tai Chi walking. Okay, so Tai Chi walking, we've done loads of Tai Chi walking before. We'll have the hands over the dancing, but I want you to really think about the Weilu being yang, the Kua being yin, and really kind of have that feeling as if you're doing that. But we know we don't want to do that. But for yourself, with the dancing, the abdominal muscles there, the core, pushing the foot out, and do the transfer just like we did it. Keep it nice and upright, and then again have the feelings as if you're doing that, but an intent of doing that, keeping the pelvic area hanging down, the spine nice and straight. Flick through, roll down the middle of the feet. Away you go. Give it a 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 go. So Simon and Tony up here. Sam, Jules, and you can use this bit here if you want, Sam. What? Sorry. Give it a go, give it a go, give it a go, give it a go. Even nice and upright. You can imagine you balancing that bowl of water on the top of the head. Let's have the hands over the dancian. The Weilu Yang, but hanging down, the Kua Yin. I know it's probably just me. We're all on our journey. But kind of I have noticed by really thinking about this stuff for the last few weeks. It's kind of I've noticed how much tension I bring into my hips. Walk, just turn around and come back forwards. Come back forwards, yeah. So you don't walk backwards, yeah, for the moment. Come back forwards. That don't make sense, does it? Yeah, so that, as I said, there's varying degrees of yin and yang, but I'm really working on making sure that the Weilu is always more yang than the hips. Softer than the hips. Making sure that kind of the lower back doesn't curve in when you step, or when you push forwards, and the ribs don't flare out forwards. Really connecting the dancing in the belly, or the center point in the belly, with the Weilu, with the Yongchen points, and with the Bai Pai point on the top of the head. And then you can start walking backwards when you get to as far as you can go. Walking backwards with that. Weilu being yang, Kua being yin, and again make sure as you're stepping backwards you don't flare out the lower ribs and curve in the lower back and point the tailbone back, keep it hanging down plump. Grab yourself a partner. One walks forwards, one walks backwards. The person walking forwards is leading. So socially distanced. So now we're going more into the kind of the martial stuff, I suppose. We're getting into our and see kind of if you're with a person now, see if your heart, his tension is creeping in to those areas. Okay, don't walk your partner into any walls. Just soften the Kua. Weilu is yang. Sink the ribs to fill the lower back. Raise the spirit to the top of the head. So of course if you don't have a partner, you can imagine you've got a partner, for those watching the film. And now any person can change direction. And nobody is leading, both are following and leading. Remember to keep the Weilu more yang than the hips. You can increase the pace if you want to. Of course, keep socially distanced, which we've all had a lot of practice with over the last year. And you can do this with your partners at home for as long as you like, but we will finish there. So we're going to do some sword sparring now. We're going to do some swords. So we will say goodbye to the people on the film, and yes, we'll see you in the next film. Say goodbye, guys. Oh, reluctant film stars.